Welcome to Season 4, Week 3 in Shadowlands, and my quest to get to Keystone Master and get that mount. Or Keystone Hero? I don't remember which one it is. Pretty sure it's Hero. Last week, I didn't exactly get a lot done. I was busy at work making sure that everything was in place for me to be able to take this entire week off, which is what I'm doing. And I think I'm going to be able to get a lot done this week. So let's take a look, and we'll start with our vault from last week. Where last week... Now, our vault for last week was kind of interesting. So if we go ahead and we wait for this to open, you'll notice I get some really good options in here. First up in the raid section, we have Hateful Chain, which is a trinket that I don't care about. Cruciform Vein Ripper, which would be really good if I ever decided to do Windwalker stuff, which I don't. Clasps of the Unfortunate Troubadour, which is a best in slot wrist item, which is crit burst. In the Mythic Dungeon section, we get a headpiece and a fist weapon, which isn't very good. Now, I do have some need for that headpiece, but not very much. The fist weapon doesn't have the right stats, which means I don't really care about it, and I can't change it into something that I do care about. Plus, I'm planning on using I used my dinars on a weapon from the jailer, which was the crit verse thing. And so what I ended up eventually picking was the wrists, which would probably irritate some people who think that Cruciform Vein Ripper is like best in slot for Brewmaster. It's not. It's an option, but it's not like the best thing in the world. It would be best in slot if I didn't have to care about, being behind the enemy for its ability to activate, as far as I am aware. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is what we got from Raid. We didn't get a whole lot this week. We got one item as a drop from the Huvim, which was a new tank trinket. And then from Jailer, we finished up the normal achievement to get the Mount Squigglesworth Junior, Senior, whatever it is, the Slime Cat. So all in all, not a bad week from Raid. It could have been better, but I'm not that concerned about it. We only did normal this week. We just didn't have the people to do heroic as a guild, and I didn't care to pug it. I really just didn't. So let's talk about what we're going to be doing for the rest of this video, because I want to change it up a little bit. Instead of doing, instead of just describing what I got from dungeons, I want to highlight a dungeon today. A dungeon that I did, which was the highest key that I've done this week. And so far as I am aware, the highest key I've ever done in general. And that is a plus 14 Iron Docks. And I'm not gonna lie, I was terrified going into this key because I don't think I've ever actually done Iron Docks. Now, I didn't get an achievement, so I probably have at some point, but it was maybe like on normal or heroic at best in Warlords of Draenor. And so we're getting started with this key, and I go in and I'm pulling really small. One, because it's a 14 and stuff was already hurting pretty bad at level 13. And two, because we've got bolstering this week. And bolstering, it can hurt, especially on mobs that I don't know what they do half the time. Because I can go through and I can read about every single trash mob in this dungeon, but that takes a long time. And I'm not going to remember half of it anyways until I go through and actually do it. And these mobs weren't hurting as much as I thought they would. My stagger was going pretty crazy. And as you can see here, my Celestial Brew was off cooldown for quite a while. but I think I was holding it at this point in time just for these, just for this one Nathrezim who hurts a lot. I really don't like, what is it, Zolgamex or something? Blood Siphon is a nightmare to deal with when you don't have a group that knows what they're doing. And this healer was on top of it. But after I finished off that Nathrezim, I went over here and grabbed this other one. It was an easy 2-pack. And then we'll grab this next pack, pop those 2 little orbs, get them out of there, and knock out this pack. From there, we've got another Nathrezim pack, and I'm just being careful not to pull the boss, because this boss is going to hurt, and it's going to hurt a lot. And I made it very clear what I wanted my group to do. Throughout this entire dungeon, I was doing little things to be like, hey, this is what I need you to do. And I'm like, kill that wolf and kill it fast because it hurts just like it popped that hunter. I was gonna leave him down because he wasn't exactly doing the most DPS anyways, and we could use that B-res later. I didn't communicate to the group that I wanted to save the B-reses for an actual emergency, which is kind of my fault. I'm learning little things about communication each day, or every time that I do a new dungeon. So I grab these 2 Ogron. They already kind of know what we're going to be doing here. And so I pull them into the star paths and then grab the next Ogron, and we're just clearing stuff out. This is probably one of my favorite. I think this has become one of my favorite dungeons for season 4. It's not as ugly as it looks, and I'm this pack got a little scary, but it's not as hard as it looks on like other people's stream VODs. And I think that's because most everybody was doing this like week 1 when they were still at like 270 or whatever mythic Sepulcher was dropping in season 3. But I think our shaman steps out into the wrong place and just gets murked by cannon fire. But I grab that, I nuke these guys down, and then something that I learned here is that if you just run over to the boss area, it'll actually just stop the cannon fire, which I probably just should have done. That would have made that entire pack a lot easier. I would have taken a lot less damage, but we made it through. This next part was a little irritating for me because I said, don't pop the blood shield. And they kept popping blood shields, and I'm like, stop popping the blood shield. Switch off of that target. And I kept dragging things away from those mobs whenever I could. And it kept happening, which means they kept healing. This fight probably took an extra minute longer than it needed to just because of that. I dipped a little bit low there for a minute, but all in all, this boss wasn't too hard either. And looking at it now, there was a lot of traps deployed during this fight. I am so lucky I didn't get trapped in one, or my team was actually just actively making sure that those traps were not in my way. I can't tell which. Maybe it was a subconscious thing to be like, don't get on the traps, because I've done Grimrel Depot so many times. And that boss dropping traps in that final phase is just awful. It's horrendous. I hate those freezing traps so much. We grabbed the next couple of packs. I'm pulling small because we got plenty of time, and I'm not worrying about +2ing this key. I just want to +1 it and get it up to a 15 for next week. This pack hurt a little bit just because moving out of that flame is kind of obnoxious sometimes, and they were just destroying my stagger here. But Celestial Brew's back up, got another Nathrezim, popping that Celestial Brew and getting that stagger off as much as I possibly can, trying to steer my group away from that sleep cloud, just because that can get kind of ugly. Onto the cat guy, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish that instead of Celestial Cat, we would have gotten like this cat form from Mage Tower back in the day, or maybe they could give us this in some way for druids, because I like my Disco Kitty, but also kudos to both the hunter and the shaman for CCing that bat. That was excellent, and they volunteered to do it. And that just made my entire day right there. But we pull into the final boss, and we just start going ham on this first, I'm going to call him an ad, even though he's part of the main boss. But we just start going ham on this first ad. Cannon Barrage comes out, blade storming all over the place, sneak around that blade storm, and just start unloading on him. And then the second guy comes out, popping him off pretty good. Stagger up in that red all the time, but I used Touch of Death to reset it because it was starting to hurt pretty bad right there towards the end, and I was afraid that my healer wasn't going to be able to keep up if I was taking damage from this guy and my stagger all at the same time. But we got through that third cannon barrage and finished off the boss, and it went really good, and I got a plus 15 upper Karazhan and upgraded the hood, or upgrade to the hood that I had. It was at this point that I learned that you can actually catalyst the hood and it'll work fine, which was very helpful because now I can still upgrade that hood, and it's a tier piece. I'm almost halfway through Revered Rep past Honored, and so I just kind of need to I'll need to finish that up so that I can get rid of that glove slot and transmog, or not transmog, get a legendary hand that is Unity. Maybe not. It depends on what the stats on that glove are. I'm not entirely sure, and I'm not going to look it up right this second. If the stats on the gloves are better, I might just use the headpiece for Unity instead. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. That's a later me problem. But that was all I really wanted to highlight with this dungeon this week. So let's talk about what my future plans are for this week. So for this week, I've got 2 videos planned and a lot of streaming because I'm off, and I am starting school this week, but I don't imagine that my workload is going to be too terribly difficult. I'm going up against 12 credit hours, 2 of which are like gym, and the rest of it is stuff from my major, which right now is mechanical engineering. But that will be switching to aerospace in about a year and a half. So later this week, I am expecting to be publishing a Destiny review. I'm planning that for Thursday. And then after my Destiny review, I am thinking about Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn review, and I'm tentatively calling it. I was told that this was going to be anime. It didn't feel very anime, which isn't a condemnation of a Realm Reborn. I thought it was fine. I just think it's going to be interesting to dissect how anime a Realm Reborn actually is, because I don't think it is. So, if you like this video, please like it, subscribe, leave me a comment down below. See if you like this new format a lot better. If you stuck around this long, thank you very much. I appreciate it. The more interactions you use on this video, the more that I'm going to get pushed out by the YouTube algorithm. So, appease those algorithm gods, and I'll see you in the next one.